Okay, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to day 8 of Euroleague. This evening, 7 p.m. Central European Time, we have Alert versus Win, who is next. We are first playing Dead Rail, each team playing once on each spawn, and then we're going to be moving on to him. I'd like to shout out to our streamer, Gan from the Elementals clan, and joining me here as a co-commentator is Arkbird, aka Ace from Unknowns. Welcome to the stream.
Hello. Yep. So we'll be commentating on each of our own clans. I'll be commentating on Alert's gameplay, while Red will be providing tactical info on Win.
Sorry, just to let the viewers at home know, we did an interview with BTHF from the Win clan. It's up as a separate video on Gan's YouTube channel. Check it out. But let's crack into the action. So what are we seeing from Alert?
From Alert, we are seeing 4 autoloaders, 2 E5s, and the Batchat as a spotter.
Which means there will be
5. 5 autoloaders, one of them being a scout. Seems like they'll be going for an aggressive push on A, and Scout will probably try and cap B.
Yeah, that alpha damage is absolutely terrifying. From Win, we've got Camper from North in a 183, Tanuvara IS4, IS7 Lazarai, TSC Jessica M48, Double Mouse, and then Rambo from North in the 268. Really different lineups here.
Yeah, it seems like Alert are taking full advantage of the ridge line between A and B, and Lazar is being punished right now heavily by 50 Shades of Noob and Sapatiu from Alert, and he's already down.
Yeah, he's down. He's down, but the hit point advantage, it's still pretty even, but Win are getting a cap in on C. They've managed to do damage to 4 tanks from Alert. But Alert, this is a really aggressive lineup. I've never seen anything like this before, to be honest.
Yeah, now Tanhuara in his IS4 and the killer from North in his mouse are pushing on to the AMX 50Bs that just took out Lazari in his IS7. But from Alert, we are not seeing like much of a response from other AMXs in that position-wise to counter this.
50 Shades of Noob is in a lot of trouble. He's gone down. Yeah. But Alert do have A and B, and now what we're seeing is Win taking a very strong position. A huge hit by the 183 on LBLG in the Batchat, and the Batchat is down. Win restoring their gun advantage.
Quite an aggressive play from the Batchat. I don't think he should have gone for the Destroyer when he knew that there were 2 of them, and he was not sure where the FV is. So he basically just got annihilated because of its, the FV-183's really strong capabilities of hash rounds and how much alpha damage they can just dish out in one shot.
Yeah, and I thought Win were in a lot of trouble here, but they really held on. They played very, very smart. They allowed Alert to get the cap lead, but now they've managed to restore the gun and a significant hit point advantage, almost 3,000 hit points in Win's favor at the moment. And it's going to be very interesting to see if Alert are able to pull this back, because the 50Bs and the E5 aren't going to be able to stand up really to a push by the Double Mouse, killer from North and Olewa in Win.
Yes, so they're now trying to push Jaska from Win in his pattern, who was in a really strong position, but right now Mouses are still covering him. Alert cannot really do anything. It's 3 versus 5 situation with 2 times less damage HP than Win has. So I think this is definitely going to Win right now.
I'd have to agree with you there, Ark. It looks like Win are going to take this one. The 183, really strong position, really good shots, especially into the Batchat there. Really interesting. The tactical patience shown by Win has definitely paid off. Ultra Instincts going down, but he managed to get Tanuvara in the IS4 out. Just on the way down.
Because Win still have almost full HP, 1 mouse, and then the other was just full HP, and it's not gonna happen. I mean, this E5 Ultra Instinct was sitting at the back, so for so long he was not repositioned that Alert are actually paying the price for not putting all the guns into the fight.
I 100% agree, and if anything, I think they pushed so aggressively on the A and B cap, but they didn't have an approach to get their tanks out of there. They stuck the 50Bs in, they got the cap, they managed to take down Lazarai and the IS-4 very quickly, but then they were left in a position they couldn't escape from, and they just kind of got brought down from there.
Yeah, and actually, a great thing to point out is the fact that 50Bs were too aggressive, in my opinion, as 50Bs have no side armor, and generally their armor on the front is only great on the hull itself because it's so very sloped. Um, I think the aggressive push for one tank with two 50Bs was not worth it, as there was a really great risk of a surrounded position for those 50Bs, which actually happened.
Yeah,
Um,
especially with the double mouse from Win. A
yeah,
very bold call going into B.
I think actually sitting like on the ridge line and trying to cap A would be a better option, but I guess that's not what Alert thought at the time.
And
Uh,
especially with the 183 from Win, it's risky. You know,
yeah,
it's very risky. So we're back in a slightly more sane lineup by Alert. We're seeing no 50Bs, but two Batchats. So a very mobile force here.
probably gonna try and go for B right away. One of them being a cover and like one spotting. So quite interesting. And then for 2E5s, probably on the game for the on the ridge line between A and B, as in the previous game. IS4 for side scraping, and same goes for Mouse and 268, just no as an Overwatch tank.
Yeah, and Ultra Instinct is taking a lot of damage here, a lot of focus fire. Now, if you're looking at two Batchats, you're immediately assuming C, and this is not what Alert have done. Win didn't take the bait at all. They focused everything in. And Ultra Instinct is in a lot of trouble. He's down. But that being said, Win are in bad positions and they're losing hit points. Killer from North and Lazarai are at extreme risk of falling. They've been flanked by the IS-4 by Alert.
Yeah, and it seems like it's two I7 stuck in a really unlikely position from like for them to get out of. But this 50 Shades of Noob guy actually was really lucky, as an HE shell does not penetrate from the 268 from Win. So that was an error of judgment.
Oh, but Rambo from North in the 268 has just corrected that.
Yeah. So now it seems like Win have surrounded 1E5 from Alert, the brown crab, while the 268 cannot do much of a support fire, and IS4 is not in a position to really push in and help.
Well, it's equal guns at the moment, but I really have to give the hit point lead to Win here at almost over 3k now, and the gun advantage now in their favor too, plus the map control. The double mouses here are just proving to be very successful for Win. They're managed, like you pointed out in previous streams, they're acting as a damage sponge, and towards the end, actually make the difference when it comes down to 1 versus 1s.
Yeah, and the armor is really hard to penetrate. So autoloaders against mouses is not generally a great idea unless you're running a high penetration equipment, which is the calibrated shells. Especially like if you're playing heavy tanks, then you can maybe tank a shot or two, like in a nice 7. You get the side of a mouse and then penetrate. Mediums cannot really do the same, and it's not just a liability. So,
Yeah, you're
quite
really,
a,
and look at the angling here from Camper from North, pushing in on Astrobelstrada from Alert in the 268. Took less than 200 damage in HE. Oh, and a big hit by Rambo from North in the 268. I think Rambo had a great game. I'd be very interested to see his damage coming up now.
you'll actually see the gameplay fluctuate a lot. And actually, I was really surprised how the fives on the ridge line from Wind were, how aggressive they were. Um, Quite an even spread of damage for Win, while E5 and Mouse actually the suggested Sponge Mouse Sapepillo on Alert. He took a lot of damage and didn't do much damage back. So I guess that was an error of positioning, or just a blatantly like really skillful push from Win.
Yeah, I'm very surprised. We saw Alert taking double bat chat there. I'm very surprised that they didn't push up for the C cap on the hill, especially noting that Win had no mediums or light tanks to contest them. But that was clearly the strat they were going for, hoping to catch Win off balance. But Win didn't react to that at all. They focused on their strat, the AB, very standard push across the ridge. And again, it worked great for Win. Now we're moving on to the Himmelsdorf map, 2-0 in Win's favor. I like this map to watch games. I don't like playing it. It's very flat, it's very city-oriented, and in Supremacy, 4 caps. What are your thoughts, Ark?
This map has 4 caps, as you have mentioned, and this basically allows teams to fluctuate a lot and change their strategies a lot more on the move, as they're not like in the same line. They're actually spread out across the maps, and we can see like a lot of interesting lineups coming up in tournaments. As this map is not really limited to just side scraping heavy tanks for holding after capping, hopefully first. So
Yeah, there's
yeah,
only one mouse, and that's Oliver from Win. We're seeing a lot of IS4s, and also it's Win's turn to bring the 50Bs to the table, but both teams using a bat chat. Do you think that's got to be for the mobility, right?
that's probably going to be just for scouting in general, and going for A. 50 Shades of Nu has a really terrible turn and manages to run himself into a wagon and gets shot by Killer from North, who is now capping A. But for Alert's lineup, we have 4 IS4s, 1 IS7, 1 268, and then a bad chat, which basically means they're really focused on getting the caps quickly if possible, which they did not achieve, and they probably first thought would be just hold their positions, as their eyesores are quite a lot more mobile than mouses.
Yeah, Alert have definitely got the lineup. The Russian heavy is much, much stronger when it comes to pushing. But the fact that they've let Win get away with a 2-cap lead here, who are going to go ahead in points, this is going to prove quite tricky, because Win with the Clippers, the 250Bs, Lazarai and Rambo from North, will be able to hold, and especially if Oliver and the mouse. Now, Alert don't have a mouse or an E100, a super heavy tank, to really counter that. And if Win can look after the hit points, which they're not really doing very well on Oliver at the moment, great camo, by the way, Oliver. I don't know if they're going to be able to push, but they're bringing the hit point lead back in their favor slowly.
I'd actually say that if, like, now right now, if Win are made to push, like if they need to push at the moment when they are losing by points, which I don't think will happen anytime soon, unless Alert pushes all in, then 50Bs will be a great way to dish out a lot of damage out and then just allow other tanks to pick them up. But now for defense, 50Bs are really strong if they're positioned in a way that like you expect the enemy to come from, and Alert could be punished by their first tank with 2 clippers.
Alert are being punished. If you look at the minimap, they're pushing on A. They've rotated their heavies round from the D cap to the A cap, but Ultra Instinct bleeding hit points down to 268. Sakapiu and LVLG in IS7, IS4 respectively are also losing hit points. Now they're stopping the A cap. This should give them the cap lead, but the question is, are the tanks in the right position? Can they hold back from the counter push by Win?
Yeah, and it seems like they've completely lost control of D. They're now all packed into one compact corner for Alert, and Alert have still a scout roaming around, which can put up some surprising firepower into the rear of Alert.
Yeah, great play by Killer from North. Bat chat from Win managed to sneak D so quick I didn't even spot it while Alert were focusing on A, and he's actually retained the cap lead for Win, which is really working in their favor, and they're out trading Alert now. Almost 3,000 hit points in the favor of Win. Win again showing a very dominant form, but TST Jasker in the IS4 is in a very low hit point situation. It's going to be the question now of who can knock out the enemy guns first.
Yeah, and it seems like the mouse from Win Oliva is actually taking a beating, so he's falling back so he doesn't die, and he still has the ability to side scrape and get some damage punishment on himself. But now,
down.
Yeah, he just rushed in, probably hoping to get the IS4, which IS4 and mouse were totally expecting, putting him down without him getting any kills.
Yep, and Alstrap and the 268 is down, Ultra Instinct and the IS4 is down, and this goes to Win. I think Alert just left that final push too late, if I'm being honest.
The push when you have 250 Bs on the enemy team is not a really great idea if you do it from the one side. If it would be spread out, which you cannot really do on Himmelsdorf, you either go like the options for Alert were either to go from D through C and push A, or go through their own spawn and push there. If you go middle, you're just gonna get farmed.
Absolutely lit up, yeah. The middle is so exposed on this map.
That's why 50 Bs and side scraping tanks are so powerful on this map, because you can lock down any corridor you really want that's a key position near your caps, and basically anything that pushes through the first tank that will do so will take a lot of beating. And even if a mouse does that, he cannot really angle that well unless he's a really experienced player and he knows the positions. So
yeah, and Oliver from Win held on so long, and he bounced some really key shots, kept his gun in the game, and we're seeing now that SapiPU from Alert and even Ultra Instinct are switching up to the mouse.
Yeah, because I switched spawns, I didn't do it in time. I was too busy commentating. In any case, still a nice score for a mouse. Still a standard lineup. Don't see many changes for Alert, except that they've taken two mouses instead of two IS4s. They have taken an E4, two autoloaders, no, three autoloaders, T57 heavies. Probably hoping to get some hold down positions, and yeah, and another IS4.
This is some super interesting lineup. I mean, I've never seen three T57s played in Clan Wars on this map before, so I'm very excited to see how Alert. I'm loving Alert strats. They're not working so well so far, but it's very interesting to see some really, them changing the game. But from Win, we've got an E3, E4, Mouse, IS7, and triple IS4. Quite a standard lineup, except from the E3. I'm assuming the E3 with its big 150mm gun as there is a pushing deterrent, actually exploiting the spot, looking over the middle of the map. Fairly good gun depression on that tank, actually, when you consider the armor profile. But the cap lead is at the moment in favor of Win. They've got B, Alert have got C. The question is now, who's going to push the A or the D, the caps on the side, and signal where they're going?
For Win right now, they're not really lining up anything on A, and they have two heavy tanks near D compared to a destroyer and two heavy tanks on A. But they're actually pushing A right now, and it seems like Alert have seen this and they are relocating their IS4 as well.
Yeah, it looks like both teams are flexing towards A, but leaving some tanks covering D. So they're actually the battle commanders from both teams here must be playing very, very effectively. But Camper from North taking big damage there in the E3, down to 539 hit points in a very difficult position initially, but now hull down, might be able to get some effective fields of fire across into the T57s that have pushed up on A.
Yeah, actually, in this situation, the 1A3 can be really harder to play, or an E3, because the fact that you don't have the gun depression, you don't have like the traverse of the turret, you have a really big gun with a slow reload. That doesn't really help a lot.
Yeah, and also in the T57 went number was focus fired to death, and Brown Crab in the E4 and T57 50 Shades of Noob came in to react, but it's just not working for Alert at the moment.
Yeah, right now they've taken down the E4, and 50 Shades of Noob is certainly going down, as every single tank from Win are pushing him down. There goes 50 Shades of Noob. I think
is next.
Yeah, this damage spread was really great. If you would look at the damage like HP that Win have right now, they actually have it spread even, and they only lost one gun while there was one almost full HP tank on Alert's team, and that did not help them a lot.
And that's exactly right. And if you look at the tanks that Win have lost, they've lost the Mouse and the E3, which are two of the tougher nuts to crack on their team. And Alert are only left with the Mouse. And this is where target priority is demonstrated in the extreme. Because the Mouse has got relative DPM, but actually it's got so many hit points and so much armor to chew for, sometimes leaving it to last is the best option. And I think that's Win have just won here on target priority and a very well executed push over the A base.
So that's a 4-0 in the series between Alert and Win. This evening at 7 p.m. Really well done by Win. They've always kept their advantages. They've always exploited the positioning. A really great way how to bleed your team. From the interview, which you could see, which we did before the stream, actually was. With BTHF, one of the representatives of Win, he even said that they are not even sure on tactics. So if that was the case, if they didn't have the set of tactics they were using, they were really flexible.
Very effective, and they reacted to some very unorthodox strategies by Alert. Some really solid gameplay there. And Win now are definitely securing their place going through to round 2. I think they already had it in the bag as per the interview, BTHF. But now it looks like they're probably going to go through as a #1 seed. That was a very, very strong showing. And that, I think, is all of the games played by Win now for round 2.
Yeah. So now on 8 p.m. we'll be having games between Raid, the German clan, and Immortals at 8 p.m. And before that, we'll be having a discussion with one of the representatives of Immortals, get their feel on the game and how they feel about uh, playing against Raid, which is a pretty strong clan with their own generic traits. And from Wednesday's games, we can clearly see that every single clan has a way to play against another quite well, and then the same traits are really exposed, like against them, exploited, and it will quite be a really interesting tournament.
Yeah, there's still everything to play for, especially for the game that's coming out at 8 p.m. Raid versus the Immortals. The Immortals clan representative is going to be interviewed by Arkbird here. He's going to do that. That's going to be at 7:45 p.m. Central European Time on GAN's YouTube channel. So make sure you tune in for that, and then join us at 8 p.m. for the stream of the match itself. Thank you very much, guys.